When we talk about energy, science has always taught us that this world that we live in is not a flat world, isn't it? Last time when Galileo was trying to point out that actually the world is round, what did he suffer after that? He was persecuted and imprisoned. Because the people at that time believed that the earth was flat and that you can go to the edge of the world and you can fall down. But Galileo said, no, you don't fall down. You go round and round, round. Like go around the world. He was persecuted because he said the world is not flat. Then we talk about the origin of the universe. I started by saying that the universe was a big mass of energy. It's like a big bundle of energy. Inside, of course, you have beings, you have stars, you have suns, you have what you call planets, you have solar systems, you have galaxies. What was the origin of the universe? Aggañña Sutta. If you study this sutta, Dikha Nikaya, you will then be able to understand that the creation and the origin of the universe, and it's important to note that Buddhism generally don't posit what you call a single creator God, because there's no such creation. Why? Because energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It's an accepted fact. You cannot create energy, neither can you destroy energy. You can only transform the energy from one form to another. From this form to this form, from this form to this form. From wind to light, light to wind, mind to water. Different transformation. Or a definitive beginning point of the universe. Because the universe has no beginning. And the universe is a pulsating universe. Pulsating is like our heart. It beats. Berdebu, berdebab. Berdebu, berdebab. That means to say, it expands. The energy expands. But it will reach one point where the elasticity will then ends. And then the energy will contract. And that will collapse all the systems within that universe. And then when it reaches its elasticity of contraction, then it will expand again. It will contract. It will expand. And the Buddha called one expansion and contraction one kalpa, one eon in the Aggañña Sutta. Clear? Eon, A-E-O-N. When one eon of time means one expansion, one contraction. But during the expansion, what happens? As energy expands, energy creates sparks. Energy creates fusion. If you are a science student, you then have an experiment called the Van de Graaff machine. You know, a Van de Graaff machine is like a tube. And then you have this thing where you pump. What are you pumping? You're pumping air out of that vacuum, of that tube, to make it a vacuum. That means the air becomes thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. When you get the thinner and thinner and thinner, what happens inside the tube? Sparks. Fusion. Creation of the sun. Creation of the sun, and the sun will be burning because it's caused by the expansion. And as the sun what you call burns and explodes, some of its magma will then be thrown out, and then it will cool. When it cools, it becomes another planet. And because it was thrown up from this sun, it then was attracted by this sun through that electromagnetic pull. And thus, it then can only revolve and orbit around this sun. So we, Earth, Mars, Neptune, Saturn, Pluto, Uranus, the 9 planets that surround this sun of ours, is actually part of the magma that was thrown up in millions of years. They cool down, and when they cool down, the conditions now become good. Water then starts to form. And when the water starts to form, water is hydrogen and oxygen. And they are part of the molecules of matter. And they are part of the molecules of energy. And when water starts to form, vegetation then starts to grow. And when vegetation starts to grow, then all the seeds that was within those vegetation will then pop, 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 pop. Then beings then starts to appear. The first being to appear, according to the Aggañña Sutta and the Buddha, is called Brahma. So when Brahma first appeared, he looks around. Everything's so quiet. Mo yan ge? How nice if I can have other beings also like me to be with me. Pop, 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 pop. All the devas then start to appear. When the devas starts to appear, then Brahma says, because I think of them, that's why they appear. Therefore, I must be their creator. I must have created them. And thus, I become the creator God. From then onwards, call me creator God. And all these devas, the moment they open their eyes, they see, Brahma was here. Brahma came before us. Brahma must have created us. Therefore, we will then worship Brahma as the creator God. That was the concept of the creator God. But all these beings appear because their karma not finished. Their energy not finished. Their craving not finished. Because the universe contracts, the last universe contracts, everybody sinks into hibernation. It's like the desert. When you go to the desert, dry, nothing grows. But one fine day, the desert rained. And then the wadis, or the beds of certain depression, will then receive this water. And then eventually volume of water, and the water then rushes down. And imagine there was one National Geographic to show how the desert became a Garden of Eden. And as it flourished through the desert, then all the plants will start to grow. The conditions now was right for the frogs, for the fish. Then they will also pop, 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 pop. They will then appear. And when they appear, then by evolution, certain beings from the earth will then slowly evolve. But they were already Brahmas. They were already devas in the heavens and in the interplanetary, in the heavens. So what happened was, when these beings, when they were born, they were very animal-like. Charles Darwin theory. Charles Darwin said we came from the monkeys, from the apes. But there is a missing link there. What was the missing link? That it couldn't have that intelligence of achieving of wisdom. Then came the understanding that the devas then came before earth, and there was a cross between the devas and the animals, and thus get what we call a combination. Why did he do so? It's because the devas was attracted by all the planetary system. When they came down to the earth, they were actually pure energies. When they were full of pure energies, they were shining, they were fragrant, they were actually pure energies, physical energies. But then because they saw the fruits of soil, which is like sweet potato lah, corn lah, born out of the earth, they then consume. And the moment they consumed it, they lose their shine, they lose their fragrance, they become earthbound. That's why they were from the heavens and they became earthbound. And because now they are earthbound, then they watched the other beings and there was cross there was a cross. And that's why we say we are half God and half animal. Above us is God, below us is animal. And sometimes our behavior is like that. When we make use of the top, we are like God. When we make use of the bottom, we are like animal. So eventually, the Vedic teachings, if you look at the Mahabharata, why was there 4 caste system? Brahmins, Kshatriyas, merchant class is Sudras. Merchants, and then the last one is the laborer and the servants. Because they were created from the head downwards. The servants was from the legs. The warriors are from the shoulders. The merchants are from the stomach. And the Brahmins are from the head. So the Brahmins are the more intelligent ones. They have a right to education. They have a right to the Vedic teachings. They then teach and they control. They are the highest caste. And they marry among themselves only. So that's why the caste system came into place because of that. Again, the misunderstanding. And what the Buddha was trying to say is, no, all these stories are created from traditions, from beliefs, but scientifically they have no basis at all.